he had his EpiPen on him. So at the time when it happened and I heard, so I called the stations further up. So I've called the supervisor to let them know, look, this is going on. We need to try and get a member of staff down to see if this person is all right. So obviously, and then it was a couple of stations down the line and they were able to get this person, and obviously they were able to administer the EpiPen. It doesn't matter what journey you're on, what path you're taking, always trying to instill discipline inside your life, you know, with the gym, with being more spiritually grounded, being more spiritually connected. Just stay active, believe in yourself, don't give up, be grateful, keep pushing, try and create the best version of yourself you can. Never say you can't do something, always say you can, and just be a go-getter. There we are, in the magazine. Gratitude in motion, stay focused, stay relentless, stay resilient, don't give up on yourself, stay connected and smart. Danga Inspired.
Welcome back to the Majid Khan Podcast. Today's guest is Arif Danga. He went from studying computer science to driving the London Underground for the last 8 years. We break down the intense reality of a 4:42 a.m. train shift, why our community needs a massive health wake-up call, and how he uses fitness to inspire the youth. Let's get into it. All right, Danga, thank you very much for joining us. Would you like to tell us a bit about yourself first?
My name's Danga, I'm a train operator. I've been driving for 8 years now. It's been a journey. Obviously, you'd have to touch on stuff that happens behind the scenes as opposed to what everyone perceives. What a train driver does, it's not all about pressing buttons.
But then, Danga, we get been underground. Whoever lives in London, they know underground, and we get to hear all these announcements all the time. Like the person sitting in the cabin on their own, we never get to know about that person. So, all right, tell me. Let's start with easy. Like, I know you're big on your gym and the fitness and stuff. Let's start with, are you a morning person or evening person?
I'm a morning person.
So tea or coffee?
I'm a coffee.
Workout in the morning or the evening?
It depends if I'm off or if I'm working. If I'm off, it's a morning workout. If I'm working, then obviously I'll do it after work.
All right, brilliant. That's a good start. So now let's talk about your train journey first. How did you get into it? What got you into to do this train driver job?
Basically, I'd been working on the stations for quite some time. I've done various roles on the station side. I just fancied the change. And then obviously, when the vacancy came up, I applied for train operator. Alhamdulillah, that was 8 years ago. So yeah, we've just been riding district line trains up and down.
Oh, district line?
Yeah, district line, yeah.
So how was do you remember the day one, the first day, like you were sitting in the cabin and they were like, okay, you on your own? Like, they should have started with the training and stuff. Just talk us through the process. What happens?
We call it a sweat day. So you literally do sweat on that day. It's like you're on your own. You haven't got your trainer anymore. You haven't got anyone watching over your shoulders. You know, you're having to think twice about everything you do. You know, making sure you're doing everything right. And then yeah, it kind of falls into place. Everything kind of falls into place. Obviously, practice makes perfect. So little by little, yeah. Because I remember my first day, they didn't give me a full job. I had a few hours in between. So yeah, it was nice to, you know, get my feet set.
All right, cool. So let's talk about like when it's like a normal person, Londoner, if they want to become, or someone in this country want to become a train driver, just talk us through, take us back. Like, what do they need to do? What kind of, like how they can get into this job?
It's more progression based. So I started off as a customer service assistant, and obviously you progress that way. Although TFO, they do sometimes recruit externally, but normally it's a case of you'd have to internally do it and obviously go through the progression route of getting to becoming a train operator.
All right. Okay. So is it too hard, or how does it work? Is there luck involved in it? How does it work?
No, it's based on what you know, based on your strengths and weaknesses. Obviously, there's a set of tests and examinations you have to do in order to become a train operator. So they do various tests, psychometric tests, English, maths, verbal communication, stuff like that. So yeah.
And how does it like a shift look like? So the day of a train driver, you know, like what people think of, I would say, I get to hear as well. They just need to press a button. So, you know, like how does it work? Like, what's the day like?
I'm an early person, so I normally do early shifts. So it's a 2:30 start for me. I have a cab to get at a specific time in order to get to work for 4:42.
Oh wow, 4:42 in the morning.
4:42 in the morning.
What station do you start with?
So basically, my depot's at Earls Court, so they have a black taxi for us that takes us to Earls Court to book on. Once we're booked on, we get on our train. There's a procedure we have to follow. We have to prep the train up. We have to carry out a brake test. And then once the train's ready for service and it's fit for service, we bring it out on time.
Oh, brilliant. And then it gets really intense as well, I guess, you know, like the delays, the passengers, and variety of things goes on throughout the day. How do you deal with them?
I mean, obviously it's based on experience. It's based on how we deal with it. Obviously, each incident you go through, you'll be learning of it anyway. I'm always learning. Even though I'm 8 years down the line, I've been a trainer, but you're always learning and you're always picking up new stuff. It's just about keeping the passengers informed of what's going on. When there's a delay, you're stuck in between tunnels, you know, just giving them that reassurance.
And emergency pressure from the control room and all that stuff, the pressure, how do you deal with that?
I mean, you do get pressure. Obviously, I've had it where I've been on the platform, I've had a person in on the train. And obviously, the pressure is to keep London moving. Obviously, they don't want to hold the trains, delay trains inside tunnels, you know, because obviously then I've got to look at the person on the train. I've got to assess the situation. I've got to assess a whole lot of other stuff, try and get that person off the train in a safe manner. And once we've done that, we can get the train moving.
Right. And you must have seen everything, like any funny passenger, any interesting story you have. Tell us a story like the you cannot forget, like happen on underground.
Basically, I was getting the train at Earls Court. I was picking the train up. There was a obviously dazzled customer. Didn't know where he was going. So obviously I've highlighted to him, look, this is where you're going. Get on my train. But the thing that actually stuck out was when they reached their destination, they tapped on the front of the door and they said thank you to me, which made it a little bit, there was that connection, thinking, you know what, I'm being valued here. And it felt nice.
That's the best thing about London, isn't it? People like
this is it. This is it. And then obviously sometimes you see your regular customers on a particular train. They're always smiling at you. They always say hi to you. You have a little banter, have a little conversation, and yeah, you just carry on.
And what's the thing like you feel like people shocked? I mean, for example, I don't know much, like, you know. So what one thing you wanna tell me about that gonna shock me about as a London train driver? Like anything you feel like, oh, as a normal person, as a layman, we cannot think like that's what you guys have to do, like long shifts or anything which gonna shock the people watching.
I think it's more to do with consistency and more to do with discipline. Because obviously picking up a train, you know, it's all to do with time. And you're not managing time effectively as well. They teach us that, you teach yourself that as well. And there's a whole lot of other array of stuff which you can go into.
Like, for example, like, give me a story, man. Like, go on. You must have seen a lot, man. Just give me a story. Tell me a story.
I'd say outside Turnham Green, I was stuck. It was 50 minutes. There was a train delay. I had no communication because there was a communication breakdown. There was no radios that were working. So, yeah, we had to, that was difficult because keeping the passengers updated, not to get them irritated, and just try to keep them calm, remaining calm yourself. Because that's the main thing. Because if you're going to panic and you're not going to know what you're doing, then obviously you're going to relay that onto the customers, which is not very reassuring. So you just got, and then yeah, we got through. I got through to someone on an external line, luckily. And then yeah, I was able to get the train into Turnham Green. And then yeah, another thing was that because normally trains don't stop, Piccadilly line trains don't stop at Turnham Green. So I then had to liaise with the...
What's the Terminal Green like?
So Turnham Green, you have specific times. District line trains stop there all the time. And then Piccadilly line trains stop there during the peak. Now we had a big service disruption. And I wasn't going to be moving from Turnham Green for a while. So obviously I then had to be a bit proactive, get in touch with the Piccadilly line controller, get them to stock a trade at Turnham Green. To obviously, then I was able to get the passengers off my trade and get them into Turnham Green and get them moving. So that was the main, just to, keep people moving, so stop them getting frustrated. Because once they get frustrated, that's when...
Like people abroad, like people in this country, maybe they know much about the people abroad. Must be really fascinating. I get to hear from my relatives abroad and stuff. They want to know like what's going on underground train. Like people in Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh and stuff. So for them, it's like we just need to break things down a bit to make them understand what we mean about things. So for example, tell me, let's dig deeper into it. 8 hours shift, 9 hours shift.
8 hour shift.
Sitting lonely in a cabin for 8 hours, how does it impact to your personality? How does it?
I mean, you get used to your own company. You have to get used to your own company at the end of the day because you're traveling, you're alone. There's obviously there's stuff we can do in order to keep ourselves active, keep ourselves, mentally active. I mean, before it used to be a case that we used to drive under conventional signaling, which was obviously red light to red light. That's now been taken out with the automation of the line, but it does get a bit challenging at times. And there's always stuff we can do, like line-based commentary. So as we're driving the train, we're talking to ourselves, we're keeping ourselves awake.
I know of you that you are bit into like you're kind of like, I won't say religious, but you're a spiritual person. You are into your deen and stuff. Do you get this time as like to make Dhikr, duas and stuff? Yeah, go on.
Obviously, when you do get lonely, obviously you do remember Allah. And then obviously you do Dhikr, you pray your istighfar, you're always thanking Allah, it's a blessing. So yeah, you do get time to do that, and you get a lot of time to yourself to reflect on yourself.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, like lots of time on your own, just think about things.
It goes really good, and then obviously you're thinking, and then you're able to, spiritually, you're able to connect more with Allah that way as well. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
So but when you start doing it, that must be difficult in the beginning, but now you get used to it.
I mean, it's become second nature now. In the beginning, it's like, oh, what should I do? What should I do? Oh, because the nerves, there's a lot of nerves as well. But now that I've settled in, and it's like, I just take each day as it comes, just embrace the journey.
Yeah, of course. And do you think like it's a big responsibility? Thousands of passengers are depending on you, and
during the peak, yes. Yeah. During peak times, in general as well, because you have your different set of customers at particular times. But yeah, it is like you do have customers behind you. Well, we're talking hundreds or thousands sometimes. Could be train capacity could be anything up to 1,400
people at one point.
Yeah,
District line is 40, or is it? Does it vary?
It's line specific, so it varies from line to line. But yeah, we can take up to 13 to 1,400.
There's a lot of people depending on you.
That's a crowded train, but yeah, and then obviously we've got to bear that in mind when we've got issues and delays and stuff happening. So yeah, it's not all what you think it is. It's like it's very procedural based as well. So if a certain thing happens, there's a procedure we got to follow. So say the train's departing the platform. Once the train's departed the platform, and it might just come to a sudden stop. There's a procedure we've got to follow to find out why this train has been stopped and what's the reason behind it. I don't know if there's a certain procedure we got to follow as well. So there's a lot of what you know as well. It's a lot to do with what you know. It's not just about pushing them buttons and letting the train go. I mean, on the district line, 80% has now become automated. We still drive on the outskirts. On the national rail branches, we still drive the trains manually.
But automation, does it make things easier, or bit more like you don't know, like if it's gonna work, or like automation, does it make your life easy, or how does
it makes it easy in a certain sense, but then there's another set of responsibilities that we're given as well, because there's more information to adhere to, as in more procedures we've got to follow. So we've got to bear that in mind as well.
Right. Okay. Tell me about your family. How did they react to this when you decided that what did you study, Danga? Like how was, did you study something else or go into the train driving?
No, basically, well, I've got a degree in computer science. I've done a degree in computer science, business management, And then I joined the underground because I couldn't find a job in the IT sector. And then it's just like I became institutionalized, if you could say. So basically, alhamdulillah, I stuck through it. The perks were nice, you know, and it just became, and then the people you work with as well, you become closer in the family.
Yeah.
So that becomes really nice as well. And then it's just.
But then how people like your close one, your relatives and your friends and family and stuff, how did they react to it? Like a train driver, like, you know, like you don't get them a lot. So what they were reaction?
Well, they used to stereotype, oh, you guys don't do a lot. You guys don't do a lot. And then when I used to say, because when I joined the district line, it was all conventional signaling. So we were driving the trains. And there was driving signal to signal. And in between stations, you can have something like 3 or 4 signals. And it's that mental agility of keeping away,
of course.
You know, and you having to do that. Then when you explain that to the family, they're like, oh, it's not as easy as it's made out to be. Because there's a lot of stereotype with train driving, but it's not only that. There's a lot more to it.
For me, it was like, we just told me, like when you started, it was like manual everything. So that's a lot of work. It's like,
no, it's a lot of work. You got to remember signals, signal numbers, signal plates. You know, you got to be mentally aware. You got to keep yourself awake more than you did now. But obviously now being automated, there's a whole different set of stuff that we got to adhere to as well.
So did it make like automation, did it make things easier? Or is it like, you feel like a bit stressful? Like you feel like, you know, I'm not in control, everything is automated.
But having said that, I can also drive the train. Even though it's automated, there's a function on the train I can select. So if I'm tired and I want to wake up, I can actually drive the train. And then obviously I'm having to follow a target speed and I'm having to drive the train. So that can be done as well. I can still manually drive the train in the automated area. That's if I want to. But there is that sense of, oh, what now? Or what can I do? But it does get a bit tiring. And it does get more lonesome than driving the train. But you're always figuring out something to do. That's when you remember Allah and you say Alhamdulillah for everything.
Exactly.
And you carry on your journey. You keep London moving, and that's it.
That's it. That's the main thing. And how,
like
after a week, like how do you rewind, relax yourself after like it's a tough shift, like you're staying in the dark and in a cabin on your own? What's your routine like throughout the week? How do you do? How many shifts do you do? How many hours do you do a week?
Based on a 22 roster, so it's rotating rest days. I normally do predominantly early shifts. So the earliest I'll start is 4:42, and the latest I'll starts around about 6 o'clock. But I'm normally an early person, so when I've had a tough day.
4:42 is so way too early. Like, what time do you wake up?
So basically, what I do is it's all about discipline. So I'll wake up at 2:30. I make my coffee.
Due time good. What time do you go to bed? Let's start from.
See, in the summer months it's different to the winter months, because the winter months I'll get a little bit more sleep, but then we got to adhere to namaz timings as well.
Yeah.
So we got Maghrib in time. You got to get Isha's the main one.
Yeah.
So I'll normally go sleep after Isha, wake up 2:30. I'll have my long day at work. I might go to the gym. If I'm at the gym, I'll vary up a bit, depending on what I'm doing. Go home, family time, rest, eat, sleep, and then repeat.
Now, you mentioned gym, so that's a very important part of your life. So tell me, how did you get into fitness and stuff? Is it because of your work, day job, got you into the fitness or gym?
What it was is my health started deteriorating, as in I was finding it hard to do particular stuff. As in, even I remember going cricket with my son and his friends. Kid, I found it hard. I was out of breath and little stuff like that. Then my father-in-law at the time, he had a few heart attacks, and then my father had his health's not too great. He's got high cholesterol. He's borderline diabetes. So you look at that sort of stuff.
In our South Asian families, South Asian people,
and that's a lot. In our South Asian community, there's a tendency to neglect our health. Because we're eating what we normally eat, the foods we normally eat. But if we just clean up our act in what we eat and have a little bit of discipline when it comes to, keeping active, not going to the gym but keeping active, leading an active lifestyle, having stuff in moderation. And then, yeah, alhamdulillah, my journey started around about 2 years ago, I would say. And then, yeah, that was a really, then I started, now I'm just fine tuning myself and making sure I'm in maintenance.
That's
So, yeah,
brilliant.
alhamdulillah, yeah, it's just,
That's brilliant. So did he help you in your job, like the getting into fitness? Did he help? Like, can you tell in last 2 years, did you see the change?
mentally, physically, spiritually as well, because you're working on your character. When you're at the gym, you're working on your character, you're working on discipline, and that sort of stuff outlays onto your work life. So at work as well, I find it much more easier mobility wise. You know, my thinking was a lot more cleaner. Everything about me was a lot more cleaner. And alhamdulillah, the journey I embraced, it was amazing, and I'd recommend it to anyone.
But then how did you start? Like, was it difficult? You said you went to play cricket with your son's friends and you found it so difficult. Like, what the first step did you take? How did you get into
So it
it?
was a little stuff like that that kind of made me think. I'd sit down and think, and then it's like, no, I need to do something. We need to take measure. We need to take control. You know, we need to get active again. So I'd go to the gym, and when the gym started, it was like, oh, I'd just be going there, doing what I enjoyed doing, but I wasn't seeing any results. But then I never used to I wasn't going to the gym really result focused. I was going there more purpose orientated. So I'd take Allah's name. I'd go to the gym. You know, you're able to work on yourself, your character. You're building on yourself spiritually. You're building on yourself mentally, physically. And then, yeah, that was amazing. And then eventually things started getting a bit easier. You know, on the treadmill, I was able to do that 15, 20 minutes longer than what I was normally doing. Then I'd vary up. I'd do different exercises. I do different setup. You know, I'm now into jump rope, so I do a lot of skipping. I'm into boxing. So yeah, it's just embracing the journey as I go along.
And I know you share your journey on Danga Inspired. Is that Inspired?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So basically, I have a YouTube channel. I'm on Instagram and TikTok, Danga Inspired. So basically, the whole purpose of that is to inspire the younger youth. You know, we want to get them off the streets, get them more active, get them more. There's a lot of spiritual influence as well, inspiration in order to get into the mosques more. You know, there's a little bit of halal banter along the way as well. So I try and cater to that as well. I've had a lot of feedback from people, so that's been nice. It's been positive.
And because of your videos, your colleagues, the people around you, do they come for the tips? Like, Danga, just give me a
No,
tip, like, oh, should I?
You'd be surprised. I mean, we'd be booking on. I've got some time, I'd be having a coffee. So, and then someone will come and say, yes, or how can I do this? But the main thing is, it's all about instilling discipline in yourself and having that routine. I say to people, it's like, when it comes to namaz, you've got discipline with namaz.
course.
It's the timings. Everything's got to be prayed at a specific time. Just instill gym in that little plan of yours.
But then, Danga, like, as South Asian, I know you're Gujarati, I'm Pakistani. In Gujarati diet, I don't know much about it, but it's similar to us, isn't it?
Oh,
So
yeah,
how
very
do you deal with jalebis and samosa and all that stuff? Like, how do you balance it?
House. The jalebis and samosas, I do eat them. It's not like I don't. When it's a cheat day, so I have a very specific diet. I eat more green, I eat more healthy, and I eat more protein. So more chicken and fish. But on the odd day when I do have a cheat day, yesterday was a cheat day. I was at a Muslim Youth Project event. I take part in charity, so once a month I do that as well. So yeah, we had a smash burger, we had some chips. It's good to treat yourself once in a while. So yeah, alhamdulillah, it was good.
Okay, and like one message you have for like especially South Asian kids or similar background heritage, like South Asian people, what message you're gonna give it to them? A quick message, 30-second message.
Just stay active, believe in yourself, don't give up, be grateful, keep pushing, try and create the best version of yourself you can. Never say you can't do something. Always say you can, and just be a go-getter.
Okay, brilliant. So now let's talk about your Gujarati roots, your Indian Gujarati roots. So how supportive were the family with you, like the career you chose and the fitness and all the rest of it? You know, like sometimes in our household, like someone trying to be fit and they're trying to eat healthy, like everyone like, oh, okay, where that come from. We've been eating this for years, and this is our tradition and stuff. How did you deal with it?
Yeah, well, mom's always like, are you gonna eat this? Mom knows I got a specific diet, but now when I go there, sometimes I'm like, Mom, what's to eat? She'll look at me thinking, you're gonna eat my food. She gets really happy. She's like, yeah, Mom, I'll eat your food. It's a cheat day. So I'm factoring in a lot more Gujarati food now, because we do have pretty much of an unhealthy lifestyle in the foods that we eat, and then obviously there's encompassing being active as well. So it's the balance between the two.
And you mentioned mom there as well. That's our love language, isn't it? The mothers, their food, whatever they cook, if you eat that, that's their love. They want to cook it for you.
She used to get upset. She used to get very upset. But obviously when I was on that journey but no, now it's a case of, Mom, what's on the stove? Let's have some.
That must be.
Yeah, no, she likes it. So the other day we were around, there were samosas, there were rollers, and yeah, there was quite a few spicy foods to eat. Yeah, we were just indulging.
That's brilliant. If you've not been driving trains, what will you be doing?
At this moment in time, well, I'd probably be in the fitness industry, to be honest with you. Obviously showing, or taking part in, obviously, youth projects more. I've got a passion for, charity work.
Where did that passion came from for the youth and for the charity work?
So it was basically what it started off. I used to go to the events. It was once a month, the Muslim Youth Project events. And then I just grew a keen interest in, the children that were coming there. I was able to connect to the children that were there, the little bit of banter, a little bit of street language, the way you connect and engage with them. So yeah, and then that became more, what do you call it? I became more consistent, and now I really enjoy it. And obviously my channel on YouTube, I try and inspire youngsters. I've even had youngsters come to me in the mosque saying, Uncle, you're doing a brilliant job, keep it up. You're inspiring me to do better, get more active, get more spiritually grounded. And yeah, alhamdulillah, it's nice to know.
And well, at the same time, I mean, that's the way you connect to people through fitness. And then I remember you were telling me once that that's the way you connect with them. And then after that, dawah and deen, you're trying to get them into
basically, why trying? Well, yeah, get into the fitness. And then with the fitness, you're taking Allah's name. Because nothing happens without the qadr of Allah. Everything happens for a particular reason. And if you want to make that effort, if you want to make that change, then obviously with dua and that, everything's possible. So yes, the way you speak to them, you got to connect to them on the level. You got to come down to their level. I mean,
very important.
I'm not young myself, so trying to connect with them on that level, and then obviously giving them little quotes, little inspiration. Bringing them into the deen as well. Remembering Allah. Being grateful for what you have. I mean, I always say, good things happen, alhamdulillah, and bad things happen, alhamdulillah, because it's a blessing from Allah. And that's the way you got to see it. And it doesn't matter what journey you're on, what path you're taking, always trying to instill discipline inside your life, with the gym, with being more spiritually grounded, being more spiritually connected. And yeah, just enjoying.
All right, let's go back to the train and the underground. So what's your favorite underground line is?
I've not known anything different. I've been on a district line ever since I started. So district line. It's a nice, comfortable line. The cab's nice and big compared to other lines. I mean, I've traveled.
I think 6 or 10 years ago, it was really like new trains came out like 10 years ago.
The new trains came out 10 years ago, so they phased out the old C stop. So they phased them out. Luckily, I didn't get to drive them trains because it can be a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, no, the trains we have now, they're pretty much foolproof. So it's nice. Alhamdulillah, that's good.
As a passenger, like as a normal Londoner, which one is your favorite line? I mean, not as a train driver, as a Londoner, your favorite.
As a Londoner, you know what? The Elizabeth line.
Elizabeth line.
That's handy for when you're going Heathrow. It's pretty handy when you're going Heathrow. Yeah.
Piccadilly takes you to Heathrow as well. That's cheaper, I think.
It's not to do with that. It's to do with the convenience, and it's to do with the. It's more of a comfortable ride taking the Elizabeth line than it is the Piccadilly line.
What about least favorite one?
I'd say the Bakerloo.
Bakerloo, why is that?
It's very old. It's a heritage line. You're a bit crowded when you're in there as well. You do feel a bit like, in a closed space. So there is that to it as well.
And which one is your favorite station, train station? How many stations do you do from Earl's Court till?
So it goes all the way from Upminster all the way down to Richmond, Upminster all the way down to Wimbledon, and Upminster all the way to Ealing Broadway. And then we do Edgware Road down to Wimbledon as well. So there's that branch as well that goes up and down. Least favorite, most favorite.
Most favorite and least favorite, both. Whichever station you go to every single day, that's your routine, isn't it?
I haven't got one, to be honest with you.
Is it?
They're all pretty much. There's not one that particularly sticks out. No.
Okay, no problem. And favorite gym exercise?
Skipping.
Why is that?
To skipping.
Why?
It's doing the crisscross in the skipping. It's just doing different techniques with the skipping. It's and boxing as well. Now that I've started that with the boxing, so yeah, boxing's it's mental agility there as well. So yeah, alhamdulillah, that's nice as well.
And favorite holiday destination, escaping these tunnels and the dark
I say the Maldives, sand, beach, and masala, and that's it.
Sand, beach, and masala.
Sand, beach, masala, and that's it. That's all I need.
Brilliant. Danga, just any extraordinary story like driving trains for last 8 years, anything you cannot forget?
I had a customer on the train and he passed out.
Oh.
Now, he was in between stations and a customer came down and told me this. Now, apparently he was diabetic and he needed his EpiPen. He had his EpiPen on him. So at the time when it happened and I heard, so I called the stations further up. So I believe it was 2-3 stations further down. I've called the supervisor to let them know, look, this is going on. We need to try and get a member of staff down to see if this person is all right. So obviously, and then it was a couple of stations down the line and they were able to get this person. And obviously they were able to administer the EpiPen. And yeah, that was nice because I got
You must have feel good, isn't it, about it?
I got a thank you at the end of the day because the parent of that child writ to the company to say thank you very much for what happened that day because obviously he didn't have his proper medication in the morning. Luckily he had his EpiPen. Is it called EpiPen? Yeah, he had his EpiPen, and because of your quick thinking.
How does that make you feel? Like, must be really rewarding, isn't it?
It was rewarding in the sense that, you know what, I was able to help. And I could have saved someone's life by the end of it. But yeah, it was just that feeling of, feeling of joy and, accomplishment. I was able to do something that day.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Danga.
Thank you.
Brilliant.